Cubs baseball is brought to you by Budweiser, with full flavor and a crisp, clean finish. It's what we do. By Pepsi. Every Pepsi refreshes the world. Submit your idea at refresheverything.com. And by Illinois Lottery's newest game, Powerball Wednesday and Saturday jackpot start at $20 million. Another nice day. Overcast, the lights are on. Not very windy, a little bit cooler than yesterday, but a very comfortable day at the ballpark. Now the Diamondbacks starting lineup. They come in 4 games out in the West. They're tied for third at 11-13. Abreu in there for Johnson. In fact, Johnson and LaRoche, who had the big days on Thursday, are both out of the lineup today against the lefty. Drew is in there. Upton, Reynolds, Chris Young is in center. Rusty Ryle at first. Cole Gillespie in left. John Hester gets his only start of the series, and he'll catch Edwin Jackson.
And let's check out how the Cubs take the field defensively behind Tom Gorzolani today. Brought to you by Pepsi. Every Pepsi refreshes the world. Soriano, Byrd, and Fukudome once again across the outfield. Chad Tracy getting a rare start at third base today in place of the struggling Aramis Ramirez. Terrio will be at short. Fontenot at second. Derek Lee over at first base. Giovanni Soto once again doing the catching for left-hander Tom Gorzolani. Numbers are really good with the exception of the record, something that pitchers have very little control over ultimately. 16 hits in 22 innings for Tom. He's had real good command of his tailing fastball, his changeup away from the right-handed hitters, mixes in that slider to the lefties.
Western Michigan University alum Bill Welke will work home plate. Mike DeMuro at first. Tim Welke at second. He's the crew chief. And Sam Holbrook is at third. Everybody's had a chance to work the plate in this 4-gamer. Low and outside on switch hitting Tony Abreu, and we're underway. Swinging a pop-up out into short center. Marlon Byrd's coming in, and he will make the catch. Time now for our Chrysler game forecast, brought to you by Chrysler. For more info on our vehicle lineup, log on to Chrysler.com or stop by your Chicagoland or Northwest Indiana Chrysler dealer today. Technically, the wind is blowing in out of the east. Humidity up a little bit. The temperature a very comfortable 64. 1-0 on Stephen Drew.
The conditions totally different today, especially for the outfielders. As you mentioned, Len, the wind has been howling out throughout this series. Today, kind of a little bit of a crosswind from right to left, not blowing very hard at all. The balls hitting the air don't figure to carry nearly as well as they have the last couple of days.
Stephen Drew in the lineup in spite of a 1 out of 17 against lefties. Make it 2 out of 18. Never mind. Never mind.
Well, if Stephen Drew had that same approach against all lefties, he'd have a lot more base hits against them. He's content to wait back on that slider. Not a bad pitch on the outside corner, but just lofted it out there into shallow left field for a base hit.
Upton with his first career homer against the Cubs coming yesterday. Back in the third spot, he hit second in front of Drew. The Diamondbacks could not hold a 3-run lead for the second straight day. It's been a rough go for their bullpen. A.J. Hinch and his right-hand man, Kurt Gibson, the bench coach. Two and nothing on Upton. He's had good success against Gorzolani. Tom's trying to snap a 4-game skid, which started against Arizona in his final start of last season. He got knocked around 3 innings, 7 hits, 7 runs in a 12-3 loss here.
Right now, just trying to find his release point to get to that outside corner against these right-handed hitters. Once he gets that corner wired in, he can usually cruise. Diamondbacks have been a lot more aggressive than we anticipated in this series. However, against the lefty Gorzolani today, I don't know if we'll see much running. They don't like to steal bases too much, other than the guy at the plate, Justin Upton. Chris Young occasionally will try to steal. They don't run much. They don't bunt much.
So 2 on for Mark Reynolds. He connected twice in the ball game yesterday. Tied with his teammate Kelly Johnson for the National League lead in home runs. Don't forget about Johnson and LaRoche later as potential pinch hitters. Happy 12th, Matt.
Assigned in the seat where you could be if you were here, Matt. And that's just making a run. I'll buy, he flies. On his birthday.
On pause by Gorzolani. The 1-0 pitch is fouled straight back. Cubs are off tomorrow after 19 straight without an off day, and through the first 18 of this stretch they've gone 9-9. Swing and a miss. 1-2.
Good off-speed pitch by Gorzolani that time. That's a real good pitch to Mark Reynolds. He is constantly sitting on fastball, regardless of count, regardless of game situation. He's looking for that one piece of cheese he can lift in the air to left field.
Foul tip, strike 3 on a fastball that was up, but Soto wanted it up. 2 down.
Reynolds, in my viewpoint, and I think in the viewpoint of most of the scouts that have watched him play, a real good low ball hitter. However, he will chase the high fastball. You just have to get it in that location up there at the letters or even higher to get the swinging strikes.
Chris Young in center. Reached 3 times yesterday, 2 walks and a bunt single. And the slider's low and inside. That's a strike, 1-1. Gorzolani really slowing down the pace with runners on. Caught the outside corner, good fastball and a good location.
I think that's a good approach with runners on base. Slow the game down a little bit. Try to take control of the momentum just a little bit. And with this very aggressive young Diamondbacks offense, they get antsy to swing that bat. They don't like to wait too long.
Chris Young came up through the White Sox chain. He was sent to Arizona prior to 06. He swings and misses, and Gorzolani with back-to-back Ks to get out of the inning. The Cubs are coming up. Lineup for today's game against the Diamondbacks brought to you by Pepsi. Every Pepsi refreshes the world. Good day for the guys at the top. Terrio, Fukudome, Lee with the game-winning RBI yesterday. Marlon Byrd cleaning up. Bob mentioned Tracy in there for Ramirez. Soriano, Fontenot, and Soto all over 300. And Gorzolani looks for his first hit.
Quick look at the Diamondbacks defense. Gillespie, Young, and Upton across the outfield. Reynolds and Drew the same left side as yesterday. Tony Abreu and Rusty Ryle, however, filling in on the right side of the infield, as is John Hester behind the plate. And he'll be receiving pitches from right-hander Edwin Jackson.
He was an all-star last year, 14-game winner 2 years ago. He won 13 last season. That was with Detroit. One and one to Ryan Terrio. And that's into right for a base hit. So a hit streak for Terrio has now reached 12. He has 25 hits during this streak.
Time now to check out today's improvement from Menards. We'll take a look at the Cubs runs per game. Entering this series, the Cubs were averaging almost 4.5 runs per game. In this season against the series against the Diamondbacks, over 7.5 runs. Could be attributed to Jonathan Vieras, the bat boy. I don't know. For all your home improvement needs, shop and save big money at Menards.
Leadoff man on. Here's Fukudome, who's reached 23 times in his last 38 plate appearances, showing bunt and taking ball one. And for that reason, I'd hate to see him give up an out. He's going to bunt. Hopefully he'll bunt for a base hit.
Got to believe that was on his own, just to show bunt, maybe break up that Diamondbacks defensive infield a little bit and then try to slap one by somebody.
The ball hit Terrio. Got through Rusty Ryle.
This season, base runners are a perfect 2 for 2 when Edwin Jackson is on the mound. Also a perfect 7 for 7 when John Hester is behind the plate.
Do you remember Edwin Jackson's major league debut?
Unfortunately, I have vague recollections.
It was on his birthday.
On his birthday, and if I'm not mistaken, he beat Randy Johnson.
He did. He was a Dodger at the time, 2003. And it was his 20th birthday. 6 innings, 1 run on just 4 hits versus Bob Brenly's Diamondbacks. Ground ball. Ryle has a glance off his glove. He will flip. And the tag applied neatly by Drew. Ryle stayed with it and got the lead runner.
A disjointed looking play right there. Ultimately ends up in a fielder's choice for Kosuke and a 3-6 put out at second base here. Nice job by Ryle to stay with it. You saw Ryan Terrio avoid Rusty Ryle as he was chasing that ball. Can't run into a defender when he's attempting to field the ball, and ultimately Terrio tagged out easily at second base.
Well, you can, but you'll be called out. Inside to Derek Lee. Derek led the Cubs last year with 15 game-winning RBIs. He picked up his first of the year yesterday. And he is now 11 for his last 17 with the bases loaded. That's pretty good. Missed again, 3-0.
Well, and I'm sure Derek Lee is not happy with his production overall at this point of the season, but I think you need to differentiate between being in a slump and not getting hits. Derek Lee's hit into a lot of tough luck this season. He had a game earlier this homestand against the Nationals when he lined out to left, he lined out to third, hit a hard ground ball to short. It's not like he's swinging and missing and putting the ball in play weekly every day. He's had some games where he's hit the ball extremely hard. He just hasn't had anything to show for it. Of course, if you have enough games like that, eventually you will find yourself in a slump, because now you're starting to think about it, trying to figure out what's going wrong, when the only thing that's going wrong is you're not finding holes.
Three and one on Lee. Fukudome takes off, and it's whipped in the left for a base hit. Kosuke making the turn on his way to third. Here comes a throw. He better hurry. Safe. He got in. Barely got in. Beating the throw by Gillespie. Aggressive base running pays off for the Cubs.
Aggressive base running and a real good slide by Kosuke. It looked like he was going to the outside edge of third base to keep himself away from a possible tag, and really quickly went into his slide and popped up to give the umpire the illusion that he was on the base a little quicker than he really was. Love to see that first to third aggressive base running, especially on a hard hit ball to left field.
Chance to grab the lead. First and third, one out. It's Marlon Byrd. He's at .391 this week, and he's at .351 for the year. Double play depth around the infield, and it's low and outside on a breaking ball from Jackson. He's blocked by Hester. Mentioned Jackson came up with the Dodgers 3 years in Tampa Bay, capped by a 14-win 08 season. A career best .362 ERA and 214 innings last year with Detroit, and then was sent here to Arizona over the winter. To third. Where is he going to go? To first, and the stretch. Nice play by Ryle as Reynolds gets one out, but it'll be an RBI ground out for Marlon Byrd. It's 1-0 Cubs.
Reynolds probably would have liked to have gone home with that slow roller down the third baseline, but Fukudome got such a good jump off the bag at third. He thought it might be a dangerous play to throw into the runner toward home plate, so he goes all the way across the diamond just in time to get Marlon Byrd, who was busting it down that line as usual. It's a pretty nice pick by the backup first baseman Rusty Ryle on a tough short hop from Mark Reynolds.
17 RBIs now for Byrd. Chad Tracy, just his second start of the year, takes ball one. First pinch hit of the season came yesterday. Kind of says it all. 16 games and 16 official at bats.
He's been used as a pump fake several times, where he's announced as the pinch hitter, forcing the opposing manager to make a pitching change, and then Lou has either gone to Xavier Nady or another one of his right-handed hitters off the bench.
You know, if you added up all of his playing time, he probably played more in one day in spring training than he has the first month, but that's the way it goes when you're the 25th man. Outside corner, 2-1. Ramos just getting a day, so he could pinch hit later if needed. And with the off day tomorrow, he gets 2 full days of rest. To left for a base hit. Lee's going to score. Chad Tracy with his second RBI as a Cub. In that RBI spot, batting fifth, and he comes through in his first at bat, 2-0.
Now, Chad Tracy will show occasional pull power from that left side of the plate, but this is when he's at his best, just spraying the ball all over the ballpark. This one, a little soft line drive into left field. A big 2-out RBI.
Alfonso Soriano hit his 294th career home run yesterday, tied it up in 7th. look by Jackson. Now he has a sign from Hester. And Soriano lifts deep, and this baby will go midway up the bleachers for a 2-run shot. He's now homered in 3 straight, and it's 4-0 as they're piling on. He is not missing his pitches right now,
no,
is he?
Not at all. He is absolutely locked in at the plate, laying off the borderline pitches until he can get something he wants to hit. Fastball down, out over the plate. He gets tremendous extension. And we've seen Soriano admire a lot of his deep fly balls that didn't make it out of the ballpark, but this one was a no-doubter. Good halfway, 3/4 of the way up the bleachers in left field. A big hug for his hitting coach.
So Jackson's struggles continue after giving up 10 in his last start. He's allowed 4 here in the first inning. Fontenot hits it foul. They give Tom Gorzolani some run support. There's another base hit. We mentioned the Cubs had given Gorzolani 2 runs over his first 22 innings on the mound. Soto batting 8th and hitting .339. Inside, ball 1.
Yeah, opposing managers call this hiding down there in the 8th spot. Opposing pitchers get to that bottom third of the batting order, and they think they might have a little bit of a breezer inning, and then you've got a guy hitting in the 8th spot nearly .340. We were told in Jackson's start against the St. Louis Cardinals 2 starts ago, he pitched 8 innings in that ball game. He kind of eased into it, especially with his fastball. This is a guy that has the 2nd highest average velocity on his fastball in the major leagues. In the 7th inning of that game against the Cardinals, he was clocked at 96-97. Earlier in that ball game, 91-92. He's always been a power pitcher, good hard fastball, good hard slider. He's tried to incorporate a lot more off-speed pitches, both the curveball and the straight changeup this year, and it's just not working out.
3-0 on Soto. There's strike 1. The options aren't great for the Diamondbacks if Jackson continues to struggle early. Their bullpen, over 5 innings in this series, has allowed 9 runs. So they want him to find a way to get it together. Fontenot takes off on the 3-2 pitch. Another well-struck ball, but this one right at Chris Young. Soto lines out. The Cubs send 8 to the plate, and they get 4. Half of them coming on the Soriano 2-run shot. inverse replay. Alfonso Soriano has an interesting relationship with the fans here at Wrigley Field. He's been booed a lot, but doesn't let any of it bother him. And they love him when he hits home runs. Find out more of what's possible at ATT.com. AT&T, rethink possible.
Boy,
Tracy with a big RBI.
Yeah, I was going to say, Len, obviously Soriano with the big blast there, but Chad Tracy with a big 2-out base hit to keep the rally going and give Soriano the opportunity to get to the plate in that first inning.
So Gorzolani needs a shutdown inning after being given 4 in the first. 2-0 on Rusty Ryle. It's his second start. The lefty coming back on a 2-1. That's sliced out of play down the right side. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Rusty Ryle went to Oklahoma State. His father, Mark, a left-handed hitting outfielder. He spent parts of 6 years in the majors. Paul Gillespie on deck. Foul tip, strike 3. Today's Walgreens Celebrity Bat Kids, Alyssa Valley from Niles and Nikki Valley also from Niles. For more info on how you can be a Walgreens Celebrity Bat Kid, go to WGNradio.com. Walgreens, the pharmacy of the Chicago Cubs. Getting autographs from Coy Hill during batting practice. Curve for a strike. And Cole Gillespie, who has 4 hits, including 3 doubles in the series. Couldn't hold up.
A lot more sliders against right-handed hitters today from Tom Gorzolani already through the first inning and a third of this ball game. That's a pitch that he usually saves for the left-handed hitters, but has a good feel for it today. Breaking it down and in off the plate, getting some swinging strikes and check swings.
His old school 70s road uni on. Those will ever be back in style. The white pinstripes.
Things tend to run in cycles, but I'd like to think that one has seen its day.
Ball strike 3, 4 in a row for Gorzolani.
When Tom Gorzolani gets into one of those rhythms, he seems to always have the hitter behind his fastball and just a little bit in front of his off-speed pitches, and he's in a real good rhythm right now. Moving that fastball all around the strike zone. He's elevated with 2 strikes to some of the right-handed hitters. Pounding that slider down low and in.
A 1-0 to the catcher, Hester. 2-0. Fastball away, 3-0. Jackson, the pitcher, is on deck. Not Dan Herron in terms of offensive prowess, but Jackson does have a home run this season. He popped it up on a 3-1. And Derek almost dropped that little snow cone right near home plate. And a smile from the Gold Glover. Len and Bob at Tribune.com, or follow us at Twitter.com/LenandBob. Adam Dyson from Jamestown, Kentucky, following us on Twitter. He writes Piers Soriano.
Every pitcher in the National League just got your message.
He's homered in 3 straight as Tom Gorzolani takes a strike from Edwin Jackson, who got cuffed around for 5 hits and 4 runs in the first. Jackson's from Columbus, Georgia. Drafted as an outfielder, but the Dodgers converted him to the mound. Hopefully everybody's all right after Gorzolani smoked one just behind the home dugout. Another 0-2, that's outside.
Just as a word of warning for fans, if you come to future games and something like that does happen, pay attention to the next pitch, especially with a pitcher at the plate. He's likely to line another foul ball over in that direction, and everybody right now is checking on that one gentleman.
Well, Gorzolani down in the count, picks up the base hit. That's his first of the year.
Hey kids, have you ever dreamt of running the bases at Wrigley Field? Well, now you can. The Chicago Cubs are proud to present Family Sundays at the friendly confines this spring. Purchase 4 tickets to a Sunday home game in May, like today, and each child 15 and younger in your group will get a chance to run the bases following that day's game. Tickets are limited, so visit Cubs.com to order today.
We've seen a couple of cardinal rules broken here over the past couple of at-bats. And both sins committed by Diamondbacks. John Hester on a 3-1 pitch popped out on a ball that landed about 3 feet from home plate. Drives hitting coaches crazy. And the guy who hit it. And then Edwin Jackson, ahead in the count, gave up a base hit to the pitcher.
Over the course of a long season, it's inevitable that some of those things are going to happen from time to time. The idea is good teams limit those things over the course of the season and don't let it beat them.
One and 2 on Ryan Theriot. Doesn't mind hitting with 2 strikes.
Certainly doesn't mind hitting with a runner on at first base, giving him even more room to shoot for on that right side of the infield. You got Tony Abreu, the second baseman, cheating a couple steps closer to the bag at second in anticipation of a possible double play. Ryle holding on Gorzolani. That's about as inviting a hole as Ryan Theriot will ever get on that right side.
Struck well, but right at Reynolds on the ground, and they'll turn a 5 to 4 to 3 double play.
We talked about it throughout this homestand. Double plays start with a hard hit ball, and unfortunately Theriot hit it hard right to the third baseman Reynolds, who initiated the 5-4-3 double play.
Kosuke hit into a fielder's choice and scored on the Marlon Byrd groundout. One and 1 the count. Cardinals have an early 2-0 lead over the Reds. Chris Carpenter has not allowed a hit through 3 as he matches up against Aaron Harang. David Freese with another homer. I think that's 3 in 3 games in that series for the Cardinal third baseman. He did not homer Friday, but he did Thursday against Atlanta. So 3rd homer in 4 days for Freese. Well, other teams have enough to worry about with Pujols and Holiday and Rasmus and Ludwig. David Freese is at 342. It's not fair.
We were talking about Giovanni Soto earlier, hiding in that 8th spot in the lineup, and the Cardinals apparently have a couple guys hiding down at the bottom of their lineup as well.
Ground ball up the middle. Abreu with a nice pick, and he gets him by a full step. That's a great play by Tony Abreu. It's 4-zip Cubs.
First inning, let's check out the crowd through the first inning fan cam and see who's enjoying the game.
Don't let nobody tell me my thing it won't come true. 'Cause I ain't lying down till I get my dues. I got a thing on my mind. I'm sure
Sharon Jones and the Dap Kings got a thing on my mind. Budweiser, it's what we do.
On strike to Edwin Jackson. 4-zip Cubs in the 3rd. April 11th. He got a 15-6 win over the Pirates. The Diamondbacks scored 13 times in the 4th inning, and he had 2 hits in that inning, a single and his first career homer. Oh, strike 3. It's 5 already for Gorzolani.
5 of the last 6 hitters. The only non-strikeout in that span was that pop-up you were talking about in front of home plate by the catcher John Hester.
Back to the top, and Tony Abreu made a terrific defensive play to get Kosuke Fukudome.
And not only showed great range getting to that ball up the middle of the field, a nice backhanded play, and really got something on his throw to first to get Fukudome.
pulled down the left field line. It's a fair ball. It's got double written all over it. It's a 1-out, 2-base hit for Abreu.
This one might hook foul. Got out and around it in front of home plate, but they managed to keep it fair down into that left field corner. That's one of those cruiser doubles. You run hard to first base, you look up, you see the left fielder close to the ball out there, and you can break it down and cruise into second base and figure up your batting average.
Pitch to Stephen Drew is up and in. By the way, I mentioned the Cardinals have been sitting on this quote for a few days. Haven't had a chance to get to it. But do you hear what Bobby Cox said in the aftermath of the Ryan Howard extension? The Phillies first baseman. His new deal will pay him an average of $25 million per year. And Bobby said Albert Pujols is worth $50 million a year. I don't know how much the Cardinals appreciate that, but it, I guess, is hard to argue. That will be interesting.
Yeah.
The next contract Albert gets. He says he's twice as good as any player in the majors, therefore $50 million.
Well, Bobby Cox has been a general manager earlier in his career, and I think right after that came out of his mouth, he probably appreciated the conundrum he was placing the St. Louis Cardinals in.
The 3-0 pitch is low. That's not what Gorzolani wants to do with Upton and Reynolds coming up. Swing by Upton, just got a piece. Joe Mauer has a bruised left heel, and he might be out a week with the Twins.
I saw a replay of that particular play when he was trying to leg out a ground ball and hit the base at first with the heel of his foot. And if you've never seen the bottom of a baseball cleat, there's actually 3 cleats, one up near your toes and one under the ball of your foot, one on the outside of your foot, and then in the back it's the same arrangement, but the one cleat all the way in the back of the heel, I believe, is where he hit. You can see that one cleat in the back, and that's where he hit the bag and probably drove that cleat into the bottom of his heel, causing a real bad bruise. It was very uncomfortable.
Wilson Ramos 3 for 3 in for Mauer today, and the Twins lead the Indians 4-3 in the 7th. Two on with 1 out, an 0-2 count on Justin Upton. Outside. Change up from Gorzolani.
If you try to go away from Justin Upton, you better make sure you get it out there off of the outside corner. We saw him cover the plate and hit an opposite field home run in the ball game yesterday.
Kick, the 2-2, it's low. Full count, 3-2. Gorzolani, one of the few Cubs who lives in Chicago year-round, but that's not a big surprise. He's from here, hometown Orland Park, He went to Marist High. Runners not going on the 3-2, and we'll do it again.
Number one, the Diamondbacks down by 4 runs in this game are probably going to play a little more cautious from this point forward. And the guy at the plate leads the team in strikeouts. 35 on the season for the Diamondbacks right fielder.
Another payoff pitch. Swing and a miss. A big one for Gorzolani. And he'll now face Reynolds with 2 outs.
Gorzolani does go away. A perfectly located tailing fastball just off of the outside corner, a little further away than Upton can handle.
Reynolds pops it and way foul.
Yeah, it's real apparent that the Cubs feel they can get Mark Reynolds to either swing and miss or chase that high fastball in this series. They've gone to it on almost every 2-strike count. That time Gorzolani started the sequence with a high fastball.
The trade that brought Gorzolani to the Cubs involved John Grabo back on July 30th of 2009. Kevin Hart and Jose Escanio were the 2 main components going the other way. And infielder Josh Harrison, minor leaguer, also from the Cubs to the Pirates. Well, Escanio's coming off shoulder surgery, and Kevin Hart has a torn labrum. Bad news for the Pirates. Hart was at AAA Indianapolis and just found out that he's got a major shoulder injury. Three and one. Gorzolani not real happy with himself with that pitch. Chris Young on deck. The 3-1 on the way. Strike 2. Will go with 2 outs. The 3-2 pitch called strike 3. He's already tied his season high with 7 punch outs, and Gorzolani and the Cubs lead 4-0. Derek Lee leading off the Cubs third against Edwin Jackson. 4-zip for the home team. They've been streaky lately. They won 4 in a row, dropped 3 straight. Now a chance for a 3-game winning streak. Single and a run for Derek in the first. The Twins game in Cleveland today. Jim Thome with his 569th career home run against his former team. So he's now tied with Rafael Palmeiro for 11th on the all-time list. 425 feet.
Well, congratulations to Jim Thome, one of the good guys.
Ball 4.
Chicago Cubs baseball on WGN TV is sponsored in part by the Illinois Lottery Mega Millions. Tuesday's Mega Millions jackpot is $266 million.
There's Marlon Byrd, first walk given up by Jackson. Byrd knocked in a run with a ground out in his first at bat. Fastball in there for a strike. Xavier Nady probably will get into the lineup Tuesday night in Pittsburgh against left-hander Paul Maholm. Good pick by Hester on that bounce pitch.
John Hester will be the first one to admit he got a little lucky that time, too. You reach across and make that backhanded play. If you get away with it, it looks good. If it gets by you, you wonder why you didn't shift over and get in front of the pitch.
Caught the inside corner. They're going to go in again, and Byrd hits it high and deep. Left center, back to the wall, and out, a home run. That's a 2-run shot for Marlon. Six to nothing.
And at times it looks like Marlon Byrd is almost baiting opposing pitchers into trying to pitch him inside. He stands pretty close to the plate. His hands are almost over the inside corner, but he is lightning quick on those pitches from the middle of the plate in. No stride whatsoever, just explodes through the hitting zone and drove that one well out of here to left center.
Playing the cleanup man today, 3 of the Cubs' 6 RBIs. There's a team lead with 19 driven in. One and 2 the count on Chad Tracy. A leadoff walk and then a 2-run homer. Driven out toward left center, diving attempt and no catch. Gillespie left his feet, kept the ball in front of him. That'll be Tracy's second hit of the day. And with Alfonso Soriano coming up, let's check out who's moving forward with Toyota. What Soriano has done the last 2 days. Toyota and your local Toyota dealers, official partner of the Chicago Cubs. Another well-struck ball by Soriano as he splits the seam out in left center. Tracy to third. Mike Crotty points at the bag. It's a double.
A number of the advanced scouts that we've had here at Wrigley Field throughout this series are amending their scouting report as we speak. Alfonso Soriano has officially become the guy you don't want to let beat you. He is red hot right now. Everything that's near that strike zone, he's getting the barrel of the bat on.
Rudy's a happy man right now. Mike Fontenot is up. He extended his hitting streak to 10 with a first inning single. Corner men in, they're back up the middle. Jackson's going to work from the windup with runners at second and third and nobody out. Right-hander Kevin Mulvey is up for the Diamondbacks. And another hideous line score so far for Edwin Jackson. Back-to-back starts, and they have not been pretty. Swing and a miss. 1-2.
Started with the walk to Derek Lee and then the home run by Marlon Byrd. He had a shot of Edwin Jackson looking over his left shoulder down toward that bullpen down the right field line. At that point there was nobody warming up, but a single by Tracy, a double by Soriano, and the Diamondbacks do have some activity. Which, if you're the Diamondbacks, is not a good thing. The bullpen has struggled mightily this year. 8 right-handed pitchers in the bullpen. A.J. Hinch can't seem to find the right combination to stop the bleeding.
The next 2-2 pitch bounced up the middle. The throw has to go to first. That's a 2-for-1 for Fontenot. He gets Tracy to the plate. He also moves Soriano to third with only 1 out.
And that's just one of those cases, Len. The Diamondbacks were playing their middle infielders back, conceding the run on any ground ball hit to the middle of the field. So Mike Fontenot just plays pepper. Just get the bat on the ball, guided back up the middle of the field somewhere. Drew comes across to make the play, but his only play is at first base, allowing the Cubs to score another run.
Ball 1 on Giovanni Soto. The infield now all the way in. And that'll keep Soriano at third as Drew fires to Riley. Cub fans, don't forget to check out our WGN Baseball blog on WGNTV.com. We have a post about the Cubs' big boppers. Check out Vince Vaughn's 7th inning stretch from yesterday. Game notes from Stats. Also check on the recap of yesterday's, what we're calling Little Bit of Everything game. Go to Chicago Baseball Stories as well. Once again, WGNTV.com. 2-0 to Gorzolani. The beneficiary of 7 runs.
If Larry Rothschild and Lou Piniella and the Cubs could have ordered up any kind of a ball game today, I think this would have been it. Lopsided in their favor. Carlos Marmol threw, I believe, 35 pitches in the 9th inning yesterday. We asked Larry before the game, was he available? And they weren't sure at that point. Hopefully today they won't need it.
3 more for the Cubs and lots of hugs for the hitting coach today. 7-0. Early on, it'd be Marlon Byrd for the Cubs. Lou was asked for his 1-month MVP, and the manager doesn't like to single out one guy. Well, we'll do it for him.
That's right. And we talked about it yesterday. For me, it's just the consistency. He may not get a hit in every ball game, but he'll do something to affect that game and try to help his team win, whether it's a defensive play, breaking up a double play on the bases, running over a catcher at home plate.
Leadoff single for Chris Young. Yes, the Cubs are hot. Could find an A and an E apparently. Much hipper to say it that way. Pitch to Rusty Ryle, and that will go for a 2-run homer. He crushed it, and it's 7-2. They lead the league in homers. That's his first of the year, his 4th career homer.
Had some big home run seasons in the minor leagues, but the first of the regular season this year. Got out in front of a Tom Gorzolani fastball that was up in the zone a little bit. No doubt about that one.
So leadoff single and a 2-run homer. Terrio bobbles, has time, and gets Gillespie. He had time because the ball was hit very hard.
They're shaking out that right throwing hand. Might have gotten his hand into the glove just a little too quickly on that ground ball. It popped out, but fortunately stayed right there where he could grab it and throw on for the out. But he continues to look at that right hand.
We want to wish Ryan Dempster an early happy 33rd birthday. His birthday will be tomorrow on the off day. Also, special happy birthday wishes go to our good friend Jay Blanc, who worked for the Cubs for a long time, now running the business operations of the Blackhawks. And we certainly hope they get game 2 and even up that series tomorrow night against Vancouver. Hester pops it up. Well, he's had a couple of rough at bats. A 3-1 pop out to first base, this time on a 2-0. He pops out to shallow center.
Tickets are selling quickly, but there's still time to get great seats for May games, in particular the series against the Marlins on May 10th, 11th, and 12th. Bleacher seats are still available as well. To purchase tickets, visit Cubs.com, call 1-800-THE-CUBS, or visit the Wrigley Field box office.
Edwin Jackson with a big swing and a miss. Happy 21st to Michael Cornejo. He's got a 54th birthday coming up. I don't know if I have a last name here. Yeah, Chip Marshall of Glenview. Big group is out here today. Chip, Nora, Grace, and Bridget. They wanted us to say hi to their family and friends, especially Grandma Joanne back in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Jackson strikes out. The Diamondbacks get on the board on a Ryle 2-run homer, but it's still 7-2 Cubs. Chicago, the new club located down the third base line, offers high-end catering, a top-shelf bar, indoor and outdoor seating, and other benefits that allow for a truly all-inclusive game day experience. Membership also includes parking for every home game. To reserve your season tickets in the PNC Club of Chicago, call 773-404-4200. It's getting rave reviews. Edwin Jackson still in there. You have to think due in part to the bullpen struggles. 1-1 on Cubs leadoff man Ryan Terrio.
It's always a tough situation for a manager when you're going through what the Diamondbacks are going through right now, what the Cubs went through earlier this season. When you don't have a sure thing in that bullpen or a couple of sure things, you tend to extend that starter just a little bit longer. You think to yourself, who do I have down there in the bullpen that I like better than the guy that's on the mound right now? It may not always be your best option, but I think for right now for the Diamondbacks, they're going to try to extend their starters as much as they can. Get to Gutierrez and Qualls, their setup man and closer, and try to bypass all those middle relievers that they have sitting down there. And no matter how hard you look at that lineup card, it doesn't change.
You've tried, right?
Oh, yeah. Try to squint a little bit and make believe the names are different. Doesn't work.
Well, you could tell that was not going to be where Jackson wanted it. He seemed to trip as he was going into his windup. He caught a toe on the mound.
Yeah, and it looked like he caught the edge of that landing hole as well. If you don't land right in the middle of that thing, if you land on one side or the other, it's obviously going to throw off your balance and pull that pitch well out of the strike zone.
Bouncer and Reynolds had to go off his glove and into left. It'll be a base hit for Terrio, as it was a short hop that jumped up on Reynolds. So Terrio with a 2-hit day.
It looked like Reynolds tried to come in as much as he could and smother that ball on a real short hop, but couldn't get there quickly enough. It bounced higher than he expected and was not able to make that adjustment right at the end of the play. You saw him come up there with the glove, but not quickly enough.
Fukudome with a soft liner, and it gets past Drew. Perfectly placed. Cue shot right off the end of his bat.
Couldn't have thrown it out there any better than this. Kosuke hits it right off the very end of the bat. Just enough to get over the head of Stephen Drew, who was playing shallow for a possible double play, and couldn't get back there in time to make the catch.
Well, Stottlemyre Jr. will come out and chat and buy a little time. Let's step aside and see what's coming up on WGN. Base runners for Jackson to deal with. 2 on with no outs. Derek Lee with a single, a walk, and 2 runs. Right down the middle, strike 1.
They'll have 2 more hits in the ball game today. Ryan Terrio now has the outright lead in the National League in multi-hit games with 12 already this season. Of course, Marlon Byrd, if he gets another hit, could tie him for the lead with 12. Marlon has 11 going into play today.
And he leads the league with 6 3-hit games, too. 11 hits already. Big day for Hanley Ramirez, 2 homers. As the Marlins lead the Nationals 7-3 in the bottom of the 8th. Rubber game of that series in Florida. And Derek bounced that off his front foot. Tries to walk it off.
Missed a couple games in spring training with a bruised foot. That got him on the toe. Wow. Anywhere but there. The thing about those, we've talked about this many times, that's not going to go away anytime soon. It's not unusual for guys to foul a ball off that front foot, especially off that big toe, to lose the nail. You have to limp around on that foot for days. Hopefully that won't be the case for Derek.
Gets away from Hester. He still hasn't located it. Now able to find it. 3-2 on the batter. Second and third now with no outs after the wild pitch.
Another pitch in the dirt. Hester just reaches across and tries to make the backhand pick. He was able to do so successfully earlier in the ball game, but this time it gets away. Both runners advance. A great opportunity for Derek Lee here with the infield drawn in.
Here's a 3-2 pitch. A fly to center, not terribly deep. Young makes a catch. He's going to throw to third. And Fukudome is out at third. Terrio scores. Like Quaddy can't believe it. It's 8-2. As Chris Young nails Fukudome at third.
Boy, you rarely see Fukudome offer any kind of resistance on a bad call, but even he had to question this one. Chris Young got too far underneath the ball, had to kind of hold his ground, couldn't get a lot of momentum, but makes a strong throw nonetheless. Wow, that's a bad call. Tag was applied high on the thigh after Kosuke was already in on the bag.
So nobody on, one strike on Marlon Byrd. He's driven in 3, 2 on a home run his last time up, and he lines out to Ryle. Cubs get 1. It's 8-2 after 4. Land viewers, how would you like to win 5 $5 footlongs from Subway? Just be the 500th texter to text Subway to 97999. Go to WGNTV.com for complete info and rules. 8-2 Cubs. Ryan Theriot continues his hot streak. A single and a run in the fourth. And 26 hits during this 12-game hitting streak. 2-0 the count on Tony Abreu. 2-1.
Men have an anniversary today. This is the 10th anniversary of the hiring of Chef Robert Chamberlain in the media lunchroom here at Wrigley Field. One of the best in the business, and not only that, but one of the best fantasy league managers in history.
Congrats to Robert. Diving stop. Chad Tracy spins, throws, and he'll get it.
Yeah. The second start at third base this season for Chad Tracy, but the second time we've seen him make some stellar plays down there at third base. Dives to his left, gets up, makes a strong throw just in time to get Abreu speeding down that line. Tell you, when you haven't started very often defensively, I mean, it's one thing offensively. You can try to work on that in the batting cage and simulate situations you're going to see during the course of a ball game, but defensively, there's no substitute for being out there as the game is being played at full speed. It's remarkable that Tracy hasn't had any more playing time defensively than he's had, and he's still able to come up with plays like that.
One-two to Stephen Drew as he taps it foul. I think we've seen the end of the road today for Edwin Jackson, as Daniel Stang, who made his major league debut on Thursday, continues to throw.
Stang, if I'm not mistaken, had a quick 1-2-3 inning in his major league debut, so right now he's the best pitcher in their bullpen.
This was not the same Edwin Jackson we saw last year in Detroit. Swing and a miss, strike three.
I just know we did not see the plus fastball from Edwin Jackson today that we had seen in the past and that scouts were used to seeing from him in the past. I think he topped 92 or 93 with his heater today, a guy that's normally in the mid to upper 90s. His off-speed stuff just wasn't consistently around the strike zone enough to get the Cubs hitters to offer at it. They waited on that fastball and they wore it out today.
Didn't strike out anybody today. Gorzelani, by the way, has tied his career high with 9 strikeouts. Marlon Byrd waits and gets it to retire Upton. That's a 1-2-3 for Gorzelani. 8-2 Cubs. Daniel Stang, who, as we mentioned, had a successful major league debut on Thursday, a 1-2-3 ninth. Faces Chad Tracy, punches it foul. 8-2 Cubs in the bottom of the fifth. Foul by Tracy. In the dirt. Couple of finals in the AL. Tigers 5, Angels 1. Justin Verlander went into the ninth. Jose Valverde got the final 2 outs. It was Verlander over Jared Weaver. Toronto beat Oakland 9-3. Ben Sheets is 1-3. He gave up 9 runs. And he has a 7.12 ERA. Sean Markham got the win. Ball 4.
Busy day for the Cubs offensively today as you look down the lineup. Everybody but Giovanni Soto on the hit parade at this point. 3 guys with at least 2 hits in the game so far. That's what hitting coaches and managers love to see. Spread the wealth.
And a couple of 2-run homers. Soriano and Byrd. Cubs Media Relations Department reporting that Alfonso with his 3rd straight multi-hit affair. The first time he's had at least 2 hits in 3 straight games since August of 2008. Didn't do it at all last season.
Beautiful thing right there. That's a pitch that Alfonso Soriano has swung at repeatedly throughout his career, but he's seeing the ball so well right now. He recognized the spin on that slider. He recognized the location and took it for a ball. The hitting coaches know as much about their hitters, how they take pitches, as when they swing it. And when Alfonso Soriano is taking that slider low and away for a ball, you know he's seeing the ball extremely well.
Another 2-2. Fly ball deep to left. And it will go just enough for his 2nd homer of the day. 2 homers and a double for Soriano. 10-2.
Crazy hot.
Doesn't really matter who's pitching. First multi-homer game for a Cub this season. Trying to catch Derek Lee on the all-time home run list. Derek with 297. And Soriano now with 296. 24th career game of at least 2 homers for Alfonso. The wind not really helping a ball like that today. Maybe just a little bit. Fontenot flies out.
First home run back in the first inning was a no-doubter deep into the bleachers in left center field. This one came on a 2-seam fastball at the knees on the inside corner. Not quite as far, but every bit as effective.
Soto trying to get in on the act here. Only Cub without a hit. A 1-1 from Stang. Down the line. Foul.
A little bit of wind that we do have blowing from right toward left pushed this one just enough to get it into foul territory. Looked like extra bases for Giovanni Soto. He's dying to get on that wagon. Everybody else has got a hit in the lineup except for Gio.
Kick, the 2-2 pitch. Roller foul past Mike Quaddy at third. Sorry, I find it funny. Sitting in the middle of 40,000 baseball fans. And it looked like she said, "What's that?" Shocked she couldn't hear the person on the phone.
Somebody called her from home and said, "Hey, Soriano just hit his second home run." What? Really? Where's he playing today?
We're feeling she's going to get a call back.
Yeah.
I'm going to say, "You're on TV." "What's that?"
What's that? Hey, I just heard Soriano hit 2 home runs today. Battle here by Gio, staying alive, fouling off those tough pitches, open for a mistake.
He's right on it. Still 2-2. Another souvenir. Full count, 3-2.
At least an 11 pitch at bat here for Giovanni Soto.
And he takes the walk. What happened? What? Huh? Zolani lofts to left. Gillespie over. 2 away.
The 2010 Chicago Cubs baseball season on WGN is brought to you by Bud Light. The sure sign of a good time. Here we go.
One strike on Ryan Theriot.
He's shaking out that left wrist, tried to check his swing there. That's usually when you see those hand and wrist injuries. Not on a full swing, it's always on a half swing. Remember, he got his right hand in the glove a little too quickly defensively, so he's got an ouchie on both sides right now.
In the hole, 0-2. Inside. Michael Brenly had 3 hits today, but unfortunately not enough. The Daytona Cubs off to a slow start. The Florida State League. And swept by Clearwater today, but a good day for young Michael. Stang strikes out Theriot. 2-run homer by Soriano. We're having fun today. 10-2. Ten total bases, 2 homers, a double, 4 RBIs. And the Cubs have scored in 4 of the first 5 innings. Reynolds has struck out twice as he faces Tom Gorzolani in the 6th. A pop-up. And just get to the seats about 3 rows back. When it's all said and done today, it'll look like Tom Gorzolani's getting good, consistent run support. At least 10 runs today. But it usually all evens out. One and 2.
What's that old saying about averages? If you stand with one foot in a bucket of scalding hot water and the other foot's in a bucket of ice water, the average should be very comfortable. Right. Doesn't always work that way.
The way he has pitched, he really hasn't needed this much support, but he'll gladly take it. Ground ball to short.
Gary Barnhouse, whose hometown is Hometown, Illinois, is today's Hit the Jackpot with Powerball contestant. If the Cubs hit a home run in the next inning, Gary Barnhouse will win 100 chances to win the Powerball jackpot on Wednesday. The jackpot is worth $60 million.
Marlon Byrd has already homered today. High for ball one to Chris Young. Final in Florida, 9-3 Marlins over the Nationals. Josh Johnson beat John Lannon. Over in the AL, Tampa Bay shut out Kansas City 1-0. Wade Davis over Zach Greinke. Zach Greinke is 0-3 with a .227. A Kevin Bieksa fan getting booed heartily. Evan Longoria with a solo homer in the fourth, the only run in that game. Young draws the walk. Tampa Bay is now 18-7. Wow, they had under 20,000 in St. Petersburg today.
Well, that's tough because that's a very exciting ball club. A lot of speed, a lot of power, a lot of good-looking young players.
Sunday afternoon, best team in baseball. Ryle has struck out and homered. Rothschild will join the battery of Soto and Gorzolani with a 2-0 count on Rusty Ryle.
A lot of bodies moving around down in that Cubs bullpen as Gorzolani has reached the 93 pitch mark in this game.
Justin Bird will start to get loose. White Sox getting blasted. They're in the 9th in the Bronx. Yankees 12, White Sox nothing. Mark Burley chased in the 5th after giving up 5 runs on 10 hits. Phil Hughes 7 shutout. Swisher, Cano, and Gardner with home runs for New York. Slow start for Mark Teixeira, but today he's 4 for 5 to get his average up to 189. Fly to left. Soriano now comes in about 3 steps. And McCord's out, number 2.
Good meeting. That's what somebody on the bench is saying right now. Anytime the pitching coach makes a trip to the mound and you retire that next hitter quickly, as Tom Gorzolani did, somebody will say, good meeting.
Ball 1 to Gillespie. The Orioles are going for their first 3-game winning streak of the year and a sweep over the Red Sox. It's 2-2 in the bottom of the 8th in Baltimore. The Orioles have the worst record in baseball, 6-18. The Red Sox are also under 500 at 11-13.
With the Tampa Bay victory today, the Red Sox 7 games out of first place.
When do you stop saying it's early? June 1st? Ontario can't get it. Just snuck under his glove, and Gillespie has a 2-out hit.
I don't know if there's a definitive time frame. I think sometimes your team will determine when it stops being too early, but there have been many documented cases in this game of teams roaring back when they were seemingly out of the race, and sometimes doing it after the 1st of September. So you just want to stay within shouting distance. If you feel like you're going to have a competitive team and a chance to win your division or win the wild card, you just want to make sure you keep contact with those teams that are ahead of you. Wait for that hot streak.
Good breaking ball for a strike from Gorzolani. Adam LaRoche is going to bat in a pitcher's spot if Hester keeps the inning alive.
The only right-handed hitter that A.J. Hinch has available is his other catcher, Chris Snyder. Augie Ojeda, switch hitter, also available, but LaRoche is the guy who looks to take the at-bat here in the pitcher spot.
Chance here for a new career high as Gorzolani has tied his career best with 9 strikeouts. There's number 10. Soto will complete the play by firing to Derek Lee. Midway in the 6th, all Cubs. As they look to end this homestand at 4-3 and get back to the 500 mark for what would be the 4th time this season. They have not yet been above 500. A lot of changes now for Arizona. Ryle goes from first to left. Augie Ojeda, the former Cub, now comes in to play third. Mark Reynolds goes from third to first. And the new pitcher is Kevin Mulvey. Fukudome hits it foul and out of play.
Kevin Mulvey earlier in this series gave up the back-to-back home runs to Giovanni Soto and Marlon Byrd in an inning of work.
0-2 on Kosuke. Lifted to left. So Ryle. It's his first chance out there. Moving from first base. And makes the play. Good day for D. Lee. Single, a walk, and a sac fly. All one. Kevin Mulvey, a former Minnesota Twin. And the second round draft pick of the New York Mets out of Villanova in 06. .6'2", 195 pounds. That's a strike on the outside corner. The other good thing about this lead, you alluded to Carlos Marmol. You should be able to get a couple of days off with the built-in off day tomorrow, but you probably don't even have to think about Aramis Ramirez getting ready for a possible pinch hit at bat, as he'll get some extra rest. Down the line, it's slicing, and it's going to be foul. Carlos Zambrano should be available if needed today. We're not sure if the score kind of remains in the same vicinity if they would use him. I don't think Carlos was sucking his thumb.
No.
It was a personal manicure.
Yep.
Ball 4 and a close one.
Now to take a look at our BMW drive of the game back in the third inning. Marlon Byrd turned one around to the bleachers in left center field. Still looking for that second base hit in the ball game to tie him with Ryan Theriot for the National League lead in multi-hit games. Our only BMW offers ultimate service. Buy a BMW now and pay zero maintenance costs for 4 years or 50,000 miles, whichever comes first.
Lee not being held by Reynolds at first. 2-0. This will get down for a base hit. There's that multi-hit game you were talking about.
The screaming line drive to first base in his last at bat that was caught will go down as an 0 for 1 for that AB. This time a little floater into shallow right that drops for a base hit. No justice in this game, but Marlon Byrd will definitely take it.
So he and Ryan Theriot with 12 multi-hit games leading the league. Fastball strike to Chad Tracy. on the day he's had. 2 singles, a walk, an RBI, 3 runs. Nice diving play on defense. His average has gone up 90 points. That's a glancing blow off the glove of Ojeda. Should be another hit for Tracy. To load him up for Soriano.
Slashing swing producing another line drive off the bat of Chad Tracy. This one just a little higher than Augie Ojeda could handle down there at third. It'll go as his 3rd hit of the game, and more importantly, load him up for the hottest hitter in the world.
That's not hyperbole, by the way. When we say that, we mean it. When he gets hot, he is the hottest hitter in the world. He's had some long, cold streaks. But when he gets hot, he hits balls hard almost every at bat. Everybody up with the Cubs leading by 8. And this time Ojeda went down and caught it. Another hard hit ball by Soriano.
Nothing you can do about that. You hit it hard, you take your chances. Unfortunately, hit it right to Ojeda at third base. And that ball just makes a different sound coming off his bat when he's locked in the way he is right now. Everything is squared up on the barrel of the bat. Everything hit hard.
Johnson fouls it off himself. Came right back up and caught him on the left arm. Bonzi, by the way, has 3 career 3-homer games. The most homers he's hit off any pitcher, CC Sabathia, 5 home runs. Rookie lefty James Russell is up. Ground ball to first. Reynolds will take it unassisted. Cubs leave the bags loaded, but they have a commanding 10-2 advantage. Johnny poised to get his first win of the season. Leading 10-2 in the seventh. Switch hitting Augie Ojeda. Strike one. Former Cub All-Star, Gold Glover, and a member of the Cubs All-Century team. Mark Grace will handle the seventh inning stretch today. Tracy tried to barehand. He knows Ojeda runs well. And that'll be an infield single for Augie. Plan your next corporate function or family gathering in the comfort of the Wrigley Field Mezzanine Suites presented by Nuveen Investments. Suites are available now for games during the season. To book your suite or for more info, visit Cubs.com/suites or call 773-404-4200. Foul pop and out of play by Tony Abreu. About two, the flip and the turn. Gracie better get over here. 2 outs. He's still on the air.
Gracie was always quick on his feet. Another hard hit ball. That's how you start the double plays. Just absolutely tailor made. There's Gracie right next door.
Does he realize he has to go out, come around? Says he's nervous. I am too. To throw him the microphone.
He's not far away, but oh, there you go. He's going to make his way next door here.
Go back all the way around.
Don't get lost. There he is.
Caught by Terrio. Here comes Gracie.
His guest conductor for Take Me Out to the Ball Game is former Chicago Cubs great Mark Grace. All right, Cub fans, let me hear you. A one, a two, a three. Take me out to the ball game. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. I don't care if I ever get back. So let's root for if they don't win, it's a shame. 1, 2, 3 strikes around at the old ball. I miss you guys.
with us.
I'm still shaking, Lynn. I'm nervous.
Well, you didn't act nervous. You didn't seem nervous when you were singing the stretches. It'll be caught by Justin Upton. 1 out. There you go. How about that?
Oh, my goodness. You know, isn't it amazing that all the local establishments where you can get a libation, you know, they like to welcome me back because that's kind of a familiar place for me. How are you guys?
We're doing fine.
I was just telling my old skipper here, I'm still shaking from that. That's nerve-wracking. I'd rather be facing Mariano Rivera in the 9th inning.
We want you to face Mariano Rivera in the 9th inning.
You jump-started the Diamondbacks in that fateful 9th inning of Game 7.
Oh, man. Can you believe that was 9 years ago, Skipper? That's amazing. That is truly amazing. Well, Soriano's locked in, isn't he?
It looks like it, yeah. He's getting closer. Let's just put it that way.
Uh-oh. Nady now, I think, has been hit 4 times already this season.
That's always nice. You sit around over on the dugout for 2.5 hours. You get your name called. Here, go grab a bat and go hit. Bang.
This is when you were locked in.
Look at that skinny guy.
Gracie was locked in pretty much every day of his career.
That was one of the better series. Oh boy, leaking oil coming around. Look out. That was more of a fall. That really wasn't running over the catcher. That's more just kind of falling down because I'm really tired. But God, what memories I had here. 13 years of this place. I can't get enough of Wrigley Field and these fans, and got to, you know, you still see the same faces that I saw for 13 years here. It's been since. Go ahead and call that one, Lenny.
Oh, that's all right. Keep going. Terrio,
Ryan Terrio. Is he getting about what? He's getting about 3 hits a game these days, isn't he?
He's been red hot.
But I just, like I said, I can't get enough of this place, and coming back for a 4-game series in Wrigley Field. Man, I miss this city so much I can't even see straight. What's with the seagulls? This is early for seagull time.
They've been showing up between 3:30 and 4 o'clock. Marlon Byrd special. Well, Marlon Byrd is now a Cub, so maybe
that's starting to make sense.
There's Fukudome. With 2 on and 1 out. That is outside for ball 1. What do you miss the most about Wrigley Field itself, other than the fans? I mean, obviously the fans are the number one thing.
Yeah, that's the obvious answer.
Is there anything about this park in particular that you miss?
I think this ballpark, like no other, the weather dictates probably how you manage, Bob Brunley, probably how Lou manages. The first thing you did, and I live just down Sheffield Avenue here. The first thing you did, Lenny, when you looked up at the flags and saw whether they were blowing in or blowing out. And that changes your whole mindset. If you see those flags blowing out like it has been this weekend, you got into that batter's box so confident. You strode through the locker room with your chest out. Even a little single slap hitter like me had power on those days with the wind blowing out. But if you saw it blowing in, you also, okay, this is what I have to do today. So the weather dictated your game plan that day as a hitter. Obviously the pitcher that day, but the way you attacked your at-bats and the way that you attacked, and I love that part of it. You just never knew game to game whether it was going to be an offensive day or a pitcher's day.
They are going to turn 2. All right, Gracie.
Thank you so much, guys.
Always great to see you.
That was rude of Fukudome to do that right in the middle of our story.
Here we go. Trip down memory lane for you as we go to break.
All right. That got him a bunch of autographed bats and balls and all that stuff. Thanks, guys. Always a pleasure.
Thanks, Gracie. career best 10 strikeouts. The Cubs have at least one hit in their last 13 innings. Rusty Ryle providing the offense for the visitors with a 2-run homer in the fourth, but that's been it. Visit your Honda dealer and test drive a 2010 Honda CR-V. Justin Berg is in for Gorzolani. Justin versus Justin. Berg against Upton in the 8th. Sinker drifts inside. 2-1. Always great to see Mark Grace. Still enormously popular here on the north side. And he was a man of the people in the Wrigleyville neighborhood. After games, he led the majors in hits in the decade of the 90s. Terrio throws out Upton. Didn't really get to it because we didn't have a lot of time, but you know, when the wind blew in, that didn't bother him at the plate. He had line drives all over the place.
Line drives and hard ground balls, and he was a guy that would take advantage. If he had a hole on the first base side of the field, he would roll that ball over and hit a 99 hopper through the right side. If he caught that shortstop playing too far up the middle of the field, he'd try to shoot one through that 5.5 hole on the left side. I mean, he was a good hitter, but he was a smart hitter as well.
1-1 on Mark Reynolds. The Cubs had trouble replacing Mark Grace at first base until they traded for Derek Lee. They went a lot longer trying to replace Ron Santo at third base. And came along Aramis Ramirez. 3-1.
And I think I've told the story about Gracie in the past. My first year managing the Diamondbacks in 01, we were playing the Montreal Expos very early on in the season. Right about this time of year, as a matter of fact. And Graham Lloyd, the nasty left-handed relief pitcher for the Expos, came into the ball game. And I checked the numbers quickly, and Gracie was horrible against Graham Lloyd. And Greg Colburn, our backup first baseman and a right-handed hitter, wore him out. So I'm talking to Bob Melvin, my bench coach, and I said, man, the numbers say we should pinch hit for Gracie here, but I got to tell you, I don't think Mark Grace has ever been pinch hit for in his life. Now, as a rookie manager, this is a seminal moment in my career here. If I pinch hit for Mark Grace and he throws a temper tantrum or, you know, does what he could have done, it could have been horrific for me as a manager. But Gracie, I said, listen, I hate to do this to you, Mark, but Colby's got great numbers on this guy. I'm going to have to pinch hit for it. He said, Skipper, if you want him at the plate, I want him at the plate. And, you know, the rest of the guys on the bench heard and saw the way Mark Grace reacted to that situation, stood on the top step and cheered for the guy that replaced him in the lineup. And, you know, from that moment forward, we had 25 guys pulling on the same end of the rope, and I give a lot of the credit for Mark Grace for the way he handled that situation.
That's a great story. Fukudome in, Fontenot out. Mike makes a catch. The untold story there is he called me on my cell and then just aired you out. But you're right, that other guys take their cues from a guy like Mark Grace.
Absolutely. I mean, we talk all the time about veteran leadership, and it's not always the guy that speaks up the most. It's how you carry yourself on the field, how you play the game, how you behave in certain situations that will determine whether you're a leader or not. You can't appoint a leader. A leader emerges.
One strike on Rusty Ryle, who is now playing left. He began the day at first. Swing and a miss. Cubs have gotten excellent work out of their bullpen lately. The last 2 games, 7 innings, no runs. A liner into right center. Reynolds has to stop at second. 2 on. And Gerardo Parra will hit for Mulvey.
Cub fans, if you want to manage the game along with Lou Piniella, log on to WGNTV.com right now and click on the WGN Sports Game Zone banner to connect to all the up-to-the-minute stats and information while you're watching at home. Game Zone is sponsored by The Great Escape, pools, patios, play sets, hot tubs, and more.
The Parra for Mulvey is probably the Diamondback of the game, the most valuable player for the visitors, because he gave his manager 2 scoreless innings. And in a blowout, might not seem like a big deal, but with a bullpen that hasn't been getting anybody out, that's pretty big. Terry will have to throw to first as he trapped it, and he does. And we'll get to the bottom of the 8th with the Cubs leading by 8. Certainly would like to have tomorrow after 19 straight, and we're still trying to figure out what this team is. Maybe the offense now can get a little more consistent.
Well, you'd hope they'd manage to find some level of consistency. It's been a slow process, like one guy at a time gets hot. And right now, pretty much everybody in the lineup swinging the bat pretty well, and we just hope they're able to maintain that for a period of time here and get themselves back into a good position in this division.
You feel good for Tom Gorzolani. He wasn't getting any run support, and a great chance at what'll be his first win. He's been very good this first one.
He's been really good, and it was good to see, even with the big lead, he continued to make his pitches and do what he's been so successful doing in the early going this season. I'll tell you what, I would challenge you to find a better 4 or 5 starter in any rotation in the major leagues right now than Carlos Silva and Tom Gorzolani.
The tentative plan has been, as Chad Qualls is in here in the 8th, for Gorzolani to pitch on normal rest, Carlos Silva to get some extra rest the next time around to help his right wrist completely heal. You can play with the rotation a little bit with that off day tomorrow. Everybody else will get an extra day. So the closer hasn't pitched in a save spot all weekend. They won on Thursday, but that was a blowout victory. One and two to Marlon Byrd. 2-2.
That ball with a heavy, hard sinker and a nasty, hard slider in the high 80s, 86, 87 miles an hour with that slider. That time Marlon Byrd able to check. We'll see at least one more pitch from the Diamondbacks closer.
And he held up again. And the White Sox did not get shut out. They got 3 in the ninth, but lost 12-3. Hughes over Burley in that one. Minnesota beat Cleveland 8-3. The Twins had 20 hits. Delman Young and Wilson Ramos filling in for Joe Mauer. Each had 4 hits. And Francisco Liriano is 4-0 on the year. In the National League, the Braves beat Houston 7-1. Derek Lowe over Bud Norris. Jason Hayward 2 for 3 with 3 RBIs. Same for Melky Cabrera. Through to Reynolds, 2 outs. Braves trying to stabilize things. They've now won 3 in a row. And Houston has dropped 6 straight. They seem to be getting their season back on track. Cardinals rolling again, 6-0 in the ninth. Chris Carpenter 7 2-hit shutout innings against the Reds today.
And you mentioned earlier Zach Greinke beat 1-0 today on an Evan Longoria home run. Just handed a note here that says since the middle of August in 08, August 16th to be exact, Greinke's made 47 starts and has carried an ERA of 2.10. And the Royals are 22-25 in those games.
That's unbelievable. Under 220 for the ERA?
Yeah, 2.10.
Wow. A 1-2-3 for Qualls. We'll head off to the ninth as the Cubs go for their 3rd in a row. Low for ball 1 from John Braybo to John Hester as we start the ninth. Tyler Colvin plays left. Straight up for Soriano. Swing and a miss. Rainbow's last time out is the best we've seen him this year. Very crisp, efficient. Quick 1-2-3 seventh. He came in after Chris Snyder chased Randy Wells on Friday. After Hester, it's Ojeda and Abreu for the D-backs. Ball 4, leadoff walk. Visit the official online shop of the Chicago Cubs at Cubs.com. Browse the largest selection of official gear, including the latest apparel, nostalgic memorabilia, and authentic classics for the whole family. Get your gear from the official source, the Cubs.com shop. Accept no substitutes. Oh, and 1 on Ojeda, who is 1 for 1. A pop up down along the left field line. Tracy over. And a nice catch by Chad Tracy. Usually Ryan Terriel's the guy to race over there and get those, but Tracy got there through the bullpen area and hauled it in.
Once again, a guy with very limited playing time defensively this year, especially here at Wrigley Field, but turned and ran right to the spot where that ball was going to come down, made a nice over-the-shoulder catch.
Tony Abreu with 1 out and 1 on. Double play ball will end it. A reminder, we'll have a new podcast up for downloading and viewing for the next 24 hours. We will be recording a new one right after the game today. Smile. Just blocked by Soto on the pitch in the dirt. A nice note from Kenneth Crayley Jr. from, you can maybe help me with this, Elyria, Ohio.
Elyria.
From Elyria, Ohio. Launches us all the time. Thanks for the nice letter, Kenneth. Driven hard to left center for Abreu. Hester's going to stop at third, and that's a double. Second one of the day for Tony Abreu.
Diamondback team has a good young lineup, still looking to hit their stride, but we talked about Gerardo Parr coming off the bench as a fourth outfielder and what he provides offensively, and the same can be said for Tony Abreu. He stunned the ball hard 3 times in this ball game today.
0-1 to Stephen Drew. And that is crushed deep to right center. Right at the base of the wall. 2 are going to score to make it 10-4. As Stephen Drew picks up a rather easy triple. So that is his 26th triple since 2008, which leads the majors during that time span.
Third of this season for Stephen Drew. Picked on a fastball down and in and golfed it into that gap in right center field. 12 triples last year, 11 the year before, on his way to those same kind of numbers this year.
Some of the fans cheering because Carlos Zambrano just got up. I think the Cubs were hoping Graybo's last performance, swinging a miss at a changeup, 0-2, was a breakthrough game for him. He's got knocked around. The leadoff walk didn't help, but a booming double by Abreu and then Drew with the triple. Cubs still lead by 6, but now it's 5 as Upton singles home Stephen Drew.
I need somebody to go out there and stall a little bit. It's going to be Larry Rothschild, the pitching coach, coming out of that third base dugout. We know Zambrano takes a little bit longer than most relief pitchers just because he's not that familiar with the role yet. Then takes a middle of the plate fastball, loops it out into shallow right field for another base hit and an RBI.
Couple final birthday wishes while we have a moment. Happy 83rd to Max Croft from Michigan City, Indiana. And a happy 21st to Bianca Arellano. Actually, it's to Nadia from Bianca. Happy 21st. One on Reynolds. 0-2.
Back-to-back changeups.
Well, Reynolds is not waiting around to walk and add some base runners. He wants to make it 10-7 on one swing. I'm surprised he swung at the first one, but he got him on 3 straight changeups.
Well, so far it's the pitch he's been able to locate the best. He's been able to fool the Diamondbacks hitters when he's thrown that changeup. When he's come in the strike zone with his fastball, that's when he's been hit hard.
2 down in the inning. Upton takes second. No stolen base for Upton as the Cubs didn't care what he did. 1-1. That's been his best pitch so far in this inning. He's got 4 swings and misses against the last 2 batters. That changeup.
Trying to finish it on a changeup.
And he does. So Graybo gives up 3 in the 9th. But he had a huge cushion to work with. Cubs win. They take the final 3 of the weekend and close them out 10-5 to get back to 500.
You better get ready for a brand new day. Hey, Chicago, what do you say? The Cubs are gonna win today. They're singing, go, Cubs, go. Go, Cubs, go. Hey, Chicago, what do you say? The Cubs are gonna win today. Go, Cubs, go. Go, Cubs, go. Hey, Chicago, what do you say? The Cubs are gonna win today. They got the power, they got the speed to be the best in the National League. Well, this is the year and the Cubs are in. So come on down.
after they got blown out on Thursday. They drubbed the Diamondbacks on Friday, came back yesterday, 10-5 today. Off day tomorrow, and we'll have more in a moment.